Who are the best linebackers in the 2026 NFL Draft? Stay tuned as we reveal which guys you need to know, and our lists might surprise you. Ryan, I was really pleasantly surprised by the quality of the 2026 linebacker class. Some really explosive guys at the top, some really nice depth. What were your overall thoughts on this linebacker group?
I like it a lot. I think first and foremost, it has been buoyed by the fact that there were a few draft-eligible linebackers last year that chose to return to school. Like, I don't know if they're on your list, Joe, but there was at least 3 guys in my top 10 that at least thought about entering the 2025 NFL draft class. So that return, I think, kind of bolsters the group a little bit. But overall, I like the top. I think the middle is very good. And then there's depth. I mean, there's quality depth. I think I have and I know I probably watched a few more guys than you did, but I have 8 guys, for instance, that have a top 200 grade in this class, which is just kind of say and I know people were like, who cares about top 200 players? Well, the NFL certainly does. They care a whole lot about players that are going to make rosters, play special teams, maybe be developmental starters down the road. They care a lot about that. So I think the depth and the quality of this class is very good from what I've seen so far in comparison to the other groups that we've talked about.
Yeah, loosely looking at my grades are not like yours where I do top 200. I do it based on the scale that I've built. And I believe I'm in the same ballpark, and the guys that didn't make my top 10 are in striking distance to still get drafted pretty early on day 3. So this is always a pleasant surprise where last draft, I remember there were guys in the back end of my top 10 that had 6th round grades that I just didn't feel super comfortable or excited about. So there's a lot to tap into for today's discussion. I think we're going to have diverse opinions. I'm generally very afraid to share my list with you because you are such a purist when it comes to linebacker evaluations, because you are a former linebacker and you take this very seriously. I'm going to dish to you my top 10 or my 10 through 6 as we always do. Number 10, Drake Bowen from Notre Dame. Number 9, Aiden Fisher from Indiana. Number 8, Deontay Lawson from Alabama. Number 7, Amari Campbell from Penn State. And number 6, I'm really curious how you're going to take this, Harold Perkins from LSU.
Harold make my list, so I'm not.
Okay. I didn't know if you watched him or not, or
I did watch. I mean, obviously, it's very abbreviated film in 2024 due to the injury, so you didn't get a ton of it. And honestly, it wasn't great either. I guess we can start the conversation about Harold Landry, right?
Yeah, let's start with him.
He's been such an odd player because he goes from almost exclusively an edge rusher as a freshman to his sophomore year. They played him a whole lot more off ball, but they played him like an overhang position, which didn't make any damn sense. So he's playing out in space. Then last year, he's playing true inside linebacker, but then he gets hurt, right? And he gets banged up and he misses a large chunk of the year. And then now, Joe, apparently he might play star, which is, again, more of an overhang position. So,
yeah,
he's weird, man. He's weird. He's a hair over 6 foot. He's 220 pounds. He is really flexible and bendy as a pass rusher, but it just does not translate from a body type perspective, a length perspective. So he's a great athlete, but you still need to try to figure out exactly what the heck is he on the NFL level, excuse me.
Anyone who tries to tell you that they know what position Harold Perkins plays in the NFL, they're lying to you. They're trying to act like they know more than they do.
I mean, he has to be a will, though, right? He has to be a will.
I guess, but the LSU, my whole point here is that the LSU coaching staff doesn't even really know what to do with him, because he was most productive his true freshman season when he was just doing the Anthony Hill bit, which was just rushing the passer, but he's a lot smaller than Anthony Hill, so he can't do that full time.
Yeah.
He's so explosive that he has to be included in the top 10, and closer to that 6-7 number. He is so fast that there's going to be something that he can do in the NFL. I don't think he's going to burn out. I don't think he's going to be a player that just completely disappears because he doesn't work. At the very least, he can be, I think, a sub-package guy and could improve and be a really good pass coverage player because he moves pretty well. He just doesn't have the instincts for it. And because he keeps getting given different roles, Ryan, his instincts haven't developed. So that's where the frustration comes into play. if there was a player that's in the mix here that if everything goes according to plan could vault into the first round, it absolutely is Harold Perkins. But there's a very small percent chance that actually happens because of all these variables that come into play into his evaluation and his development.
Joe, as you read your list, I became very aware that our linebacker lists are going to be very, very, very different.
All right, read your 10 through 6.
Can I ask you one more question before we move on? My question centered around, before the show, you told me that you watched a player late, and I'm assuming that was Aiden Fisher that made your top 10, the Indiana linebacker, okay?
Yes.
Aiden Fisher was 11 for me, so I like Aiden Fisher. So I'm cool that you like Aiden Fisher. That's great. Very underrated player. Reminds me a lot of Blake Martinez. Like, I could see him being a Blake Martinez-esque player in the NFL. Who did he bump out of your list?
Lander Barton.
No way!
To get to, I don't like Lander Barton, and I'm gonna wait until we get to that conversation later because I know that you're a very big Lander Barton fan. Aiden Fisher, the way that you just described him, I think is so perfect. I had this thought in my head where I was like, he's going to be one of those dudes that's not going to get a lot of fanfare leading up to the draft. He's not going to get like a ton of like true big time buzz of like, watch out for this guy, but he'll be in the mix. And then like 3 years into his NFL career, we'll be talking about how, Aiden Fisher's just a really solid Mike. And then he enters free agency, and then somebody is going to give him a nice contract because he's got the instincts. He's great inside the box against the run. He's just not a super twitchy, explosive athlete, but he does everything that you look for.
He's a smooth athlete.
Yeah, he's smooth. Yeah. He's physical. He's not stiff. That's this. The smoothness part about this. He fits really well against ball carriers. He's always gonna be a 10, 15 tackle guy per game because his nose is always near the football. He's one of those guys where you're just like, that dude is near the ball again. How did he end up near the football? He's just not going to be rangy, twitched up, crazy big play where he hawks you down from the backside or, comes underneath and has like a big sack or comes over the top and in zone coverage and makes a big interception. He's just not going to be one of those guys. He is the one player that I would just circle with the designation of maybe not as athletic as some of the other players that will get discussed in this class, but will carve out a role because his instincts are in the plus category way more than some of these other players.
Basically what you're saying is Aiden Fisher is he's
Blake Martinez. I like that. I love that comp. Or you know who? This isn't like a direct comparison, but like Micah McFadden is another Giants guy who's just like he's been like a really solid player for the Giants and has just found a way to stick with the team. Like that's who.
He's the stereotype. There's nothing wrong with that, man. The stereotype sits.
Seriously,
the stereotype sticks in the NFL. So there's nothing wrong with that. I agree. I think Aiden Fisher is going to be at least a good backup inside linebacker in the NFL that's going to play every special teams, and there is nothing wrong with that. Number 10 for me, Harold Perkins, linebacker from LSU.
Oh, okay.
Number 9, I had Cam Robinson from Virginia, which I'm sure you did not watch, but I like Cam Robinson a lot.
I did not.
Number 8, Jaishawn Barham from Michigan, the former Maryland transfer. Number 7, I have, let me make sure I'm counting correctly. Yep, I am counting correctly. Number 7 is Travion Barnes, linebacker from Baylor, an FIU transfer. And number 6, I have Raylan Wilson, linebacker from Georgia.
Okay, we have to talk about my Raylan Wilson, and I know that he has fans. I think that he just missed my top 10.
Okay.
He's a very athletic and explosive player, and he's going to be one of the most athletic and explosive linebackers in this class.
Right.
Did you feel comfortable with his instincts and overall feel for playing the position? Because like I didn't. I thought that this was a guy within a crowded linebacker room needs one more year. I think that out of another player who like in 2 years in 2027 absolutely becomes like a top 50, top 75 pick. But I just think at the current moment he doesn't feel fully baked.
Well, he's not fully baked, but he was also not even a full-time starter last year as a sophomore, right? Like he started the majority of the season. I mean, he's only going to be a true junior this year, so it's very understandable if he ends up being a 2027 kid compared to 2026. I obviously don't like him as much as his teammate, And I think that they are a little bit of anti to one another, which is why I think that pairing works, though. Like, I think that works because they are a little bit of a different player. But he's just so twitchy and athletic from the second level, man. Like, he plays really well in pursuit. He's got good blitzing upside. Like, he is a attack style inside linebacker that I can get behind. So I just slightly like them a little bit more than a couple guys in this tier. I do think there's a little bit of a drop off after linebacker 5. Again, we're not talking. I like the depth of this class, so this is not saying these guys can't play. What I'm saying is, when I get to my top 5, I think that is a little bit more of a higher caliber of player at the linebacker spot right now than what we're talking about right now, 6 through 10.
Before I elaborate on said player, did you have Drake Bowen? You didn't have Drake Bowen in your top 5, did you?
Top 10? No, I did not have Drake Bowen. I have a draftable grade on Drake Bowen. Here's my pause with Drake. Drake is really explosive downhill. He's physical as all hell, man. Like, he will knock you out. I just don't necessarily see high upside in space or in pass coverage. Like, I think that's
fair.
Just kind of a limiting factor. I think he's a true downhill Mike. Again, no problem with that. You can find a role in the NFL and you could stick. I guess I just didn't see any impact outside of between the tackles with Drake. And then also I thought his vision was a little bit spotty at times. Like, there were times where I think that he took the wrong angle of pursuit, then he attacked the wrong shoulder when taking on blocks. Like, I just think he needs another year or two of maturation.
So I had like a really similar thought process with Drake Bowen and Raylan Wilson when I evaluated those two guys, where like I'd put them in the same exact category. Really good athletes, has more potential as they see more bullets and they have a lot more reps. They're eventually going to grow into bigger names in a different draft class. Yep. I think that like Bowen, the bigger thing that I like the most is that he is exactly what I think the NFL needs for a Mike linebacker. Where he's super thickly built. Mm-hmm. He's very explosive. He can generate force very quickly. But like as you just talked about there's just a lot of things missing with the technique. There's a lot of things missing with the eyes. There's a lot of things missing with the overall impact and especially pass coverage. Like there's just a lot of things that need to get figured out. Again, to reiterate, Bowen and Wilson had a very similar grade because I just have this overall, if they can reach that potential, they're going to end up being awesome players in the league.
If you ever want to have some fun, go Google Drake Bowen's huddle highlight tape when he was at Andrean High School in Indiana.
Remember.
Dude, he ran for like 1,800 yards and 20 touchdowns his senior year or some crazy thing like that. Dude, it was just hilarious, man. Hilarious. He was also a really good baseball player. He was on the Notre Dame baseball team for 2 years, so he's done playing now because full transition to football, but like really good baseball player as well. His younger brother is going to like, don't quote me on this, I think it's like Baylor or something for baseball. Like his younger brother is actually even better than he is at baseball. So athletic family.
All right, my number 5, I really like Jaishawn Barham from Michigan. He was my number 5 guy. Big, physical dude. I love the burst that he has. I know that I saw you tweet about this. He could be a player that maybe transitions to more of like a stand-up edge role. Mm-hmm. I think that I was attracted to the fact that he's got this build and this athleticism that allows him to potentially play different linebacker spots in the NFL, which allows for, depending on the sub package that he's in, to be moved to different spots in different locations. I also thought that his ability to impact plays as a blitzer with the burst that he has for his build can end up translating to a really productive role in the NFL. All encompassing. I know that the instincts aren't like truly there, but he's somebody who I would take somewhere end of day 2, plug into my system and just watch him and use him as a battering ram to just be a constant menace against opposing offenses.
Yeah, Jaishawn is very interesting because he's over 6'2". He's 245 pounds. He's got good length for the position as well. He former Maryland transfer. It's really weird maturation, Joe, because he went from, his freshman year, he was kind of like Harold Perkins in the sense of like he played on ball more than he played off ball. Like they were rushing off the edge a ton. Sophomore year, they moved him to inside linebacker, and I thought that his instincts were horrible his second year at Maryland. Like I thought they were really bad. I just didn't think he saw the game. This year at Michigan, I thought it was way better. Is it there yet? No, agreed. But he is still linebacker 8 for me. He's linebacker 8 for me because I see a lot of what you see. Like this kid, I think, is an easy fit as a Sam linebacker, early downs. I think he could potentially transition to Mike, and I think you could use him as a situational rusher from different spots as well. So, like, the upside and versatility he brings is super interesting. I'm very curious to see what jump he takes from year 1 to year 2 at Michigan, because he certainly had a big jump from 2023 at Maryland to 2024 at Michigan.
And kind of like how we saw Edgerrin Cooper be placed in the situation where he gets we did a film breakdown on this, anyone who missed it, kind of just allowed for him to pin his ears back and go. And I think that if he gets that same parameter in his first 2 years in the league, Barham could end up blossoming into a great linebacker. So he's somebody who I was enamored watching. Who's your number 5?
Number 5 for me, and I'm curious if he's on your list. I have a feeling he might not be, but we'll see. I have Whit Weeks from LSU at number 5 for me. So here's my experience of watching Whit Weeks, Joe. Literally in one game. Okay. I'm watching the first game. I'm watching Oklahoma. Okay. First 15, 20 plays. I did not like Whit Weeks at all. I'm just like, oh no, I don't like this. He seemed indecisive. He seemed like his keys were a little slow. I'm just like, don't like this. But he was kind of a slow burn prospect for me. So the second half against Oklahoma, and then I went into a couple other games where I'm like, okay, I see it now. I see the maturation he had. Because early in the year last year for LSU, he was not great. And then in the middle of the season, he kind of hit his stride, got better. And then by the end of the season, he's one of the best linebackers in college football. That was kind of the maturation himself he had as a true sophomore last year. 6'2", 225 pounds. This kid, I think, is going to hit that. We talked about the stereotype earlier, right? Of really heady, instinctive linebackers that maybe aren't great athletes. That's kind of the vision we get. People are going to try that with Whit Weeks, but he is not that. Whit Weeks is actually a very good athlete. He works the perimeter incredibly well, has really good closing burst. He's 6'2", 225 pounds. I think his frame could still hold another 5 to 10 if he wanted to put it on and be a true Mike, but he could play Mike or Will in the particular scheme. But this kid has really good closing burst. His instincts improved down the stretch. And I just really like the overall movement skills, man. He was always around the football down the stretch of the year for LSU. So Whit Weeks was one where I didn't like initially, but the more I watched him, he grew on me a ton.
He's number 4 for me.
Okay.
I was a big Whit Weeks fan too. I didn't know what to expect going into it. His production was silly for the second half of the season, and it wasn't manufactured production. No. As you just said, he is near the football every single play. And it's not one of those guys just kind of standing there. He has a hand on a ball carrier every single play, getting his nose dirty. I think that, as you just mentioned there, we're going to be maybe lazy. Some people are going to be lazy and just classifying him as what you just talked about, good instincts, middle backer. But you're right. He flies. He moves really, really well. He's not going to be in the top 5 40 times and maybe change his direction, but he will be in that top conversation as one of the more athletic linebackers in this class. And I love the physicality too, despite him not being a super gigantic linebacker. He was listed at 225 by LSU last year. He delivers some pretty big hits. The only thing that I think needs a little bit more work is he just needs to do a better job of disengaging from blockers, but he's not afraid to go toe-to-toe with an offensive lineman. There were a couple instances, Ryan, where he's lowering his shoulder into a blocker. You're not going to be able to get off of a block quickly doing that. You need to get extension, shock the hands, and locate the football. I think he knew where the football was. He just didn't do an effective job of clearing said blocker. But there's a real path here for Whit Weeks to be a big riser throughout this process and to solidify himself as a lock of a day 2 pick in this group where he is the blend of instincts and that blend of athleticism.
You know what's funny is when I posted about Whit Weeks a couple days ago, Joe, someone commented on it. And I think it's someone that I actually have good conversation with sometimes. So I didn't come at him, and I don't even think I commented. But they said he's an old school linebacker. And I'm like,
he's not, though.
He's not. I don't think you've watched him. I just genuinely don't think you've watched him, maybe except casually just watching the broadcast and stuff. He's not.
He's a new school guy. He's exactly what I think that the modern Mike needs to be, which is on the smaller side, very quick in short areas, leaner, and a really good tackler. This is what the NFL needs. These throwback style guys are just not as valuable. He
is more of a block slipper than he is a destructor, right? He's not going to work at the point of attack incredibly well right now due to his size, but he slips blocks well. He understands angles to take to particular shoulders to be able to get around blockers efficiently and not to put himself out of plays. Like, I think that stuff is really good. And the one thing to watch, obviously, is I know he had the injury in the bowl game this year, the lower leg injury, but I think he's back fully healthy and ready to go, so I'm not like overly concerned about that one as well.
All right, hit me with your number 4, because that was obviously my number 4.
You're going to hate this one, man. You're going to hate it.
Lander Barton?
Nope. It's Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas.
Lander, how high do you have? Oh, this is good. We're about to get to this. I know I'm getting ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
This is going to be the biggest gap between two prospects that I think that you and I have ever had. Because you and I are usually, I can't think of an instance where we've been this far off, where a guy wasn't even in my top 10 and he's going to be in your top 3. Anthony Hill Jr. is number 3 for me, but go ahead and share why he was your number 4. So we're not far off here. We're kind of in the same ballpark, but kind of talk about where you sit with Anthony Hill Jr.
I like Anthony Hill Jr., Joe, but I don't love Anthony Hill Jr., and I wish I loved Anthony Hill Jr. He is a big body, 6'3", 235 pounds. He has enough length where some people are even joking about, like, should this guy be an edge rusher on the NFL level? I think that's silly. I don't think that we should go there with this right now. But he is a really proactive player. He blitzes well, and he's got good explosiveness downhill. Like, that stuff is really cool. I hate his eyes, Joe. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, I don't like his eyes. I don't like it. I think he's slow to react at times. Out when he's a really good run blitzer, when you tell him what gap he needs to be in and to go. But I really think from his trigger to his read to making it actionable, I do think that it is a slower process than some, and I think that he guesses wrong a lot. So I think there's upside here, especially athletically, obviously, and there's versatility. I just really wanted to like Anthony Hill more than I did. Just really did.
The bad for me, I thought he was pretty timid in terms of like his decision making, which goes with the instincts that you talked about there. I don't see a guy that's like see ball, attack downhill. He's so athletic, you would kind of hope that he has this just like flow to the football, attack, pick up speed, make a play at the line of scrimmage. He doesn't do that a lot.
Right.
Poor tackling technique for me. I think that he needs to be a better tackler, more consistent tackler. And for a guy that's such a good pass rusher, I think he's really inconsistent at taking out blockers. More so in the flow of the run game, not at the line of scrimmage. Just doesn't have a really good feel for like how to handle a blocker when he's coming in his direction. But he's so explosive athletically, and he's so fast linearly, and he can pursue so quickly and hunt down guys so efficiently. He's going to get the Jahad Campbell treatment. And I think that there is a path for Anthony Hill Jr. to have the progression and the improvement like Jahad Campbell did. Campbell was an edge recruit that moved to linebacker that still had some instinct issues this year, but was a lot more productive and just was trusting the power that he had to just be an explosive battering ram. I think that NFL teams, if Jahad Campbell has a good season this year, some teams are going to be incentivized to go, you know what? We need this guy, this multi-use weapon that can be a blitzer at the line of scrimmage for us, that we can play him off ball. I think the bigger part where I have hope that this works out is that first year he was purely a blitzer. Just like, go. Just go, Anthony. Just run after the quarterback, and we're going to see what we can do here. They moved him to off-ball linebacker this past season. Had a lot of struggles at times, which leads into the weaknesses that we're talking about. But there was some signs of improvement. It takes a lot of time to get used to everything that's happening at the linebacker position to have the right instincts. I'm holding out hope, but I agree with you on this sentiment of I like him, but I don't love him. There's a world where this ends up changing.
Well, and his defensive coordinator was a former linebacker, so you hope that
Yeah.
He played a lot as a freshman, but his year 2 was his first you're the starting Mike for the Texas Longhorns, and let's take a next step from year 2 to year 3. Hopefully that's substantial. I hope it happens. I have my reservations. I'm a little hesitant on him, but I see the vision. But the vision, it's funny that I see the vision when his vision is my biggest pet peeve with him. But yeah, that's the next step that he needs to take.
All right. Who do you have next?
Lander Barton, number 3 for me at Utah. Okay. Joe, I went into the Lander Barton viewing thinking that I wasn't going to love Lander Barton because honestly, Lander Barton's not really my type, typically, of linebackers.
No, this is why I'm so surprised by this whole interaction.
But I watched him, and I'm like, first and foremost, 6'4" even, verified. 236 pounds, verified. Over 33-inch arms, verified. He moves exceptionally well. Scouts are estimating he's going to run somewhere between 4.60 to 4.62, somewhere in that ballpark. So, like, the kid can move as well. I think he's explosive. And I'm watching Utah defense, and I don't love how they use him all the time. But, Joe, I'm watching reps of him at Mike. I'm watching reps with him at Will. I'm watching reps with him at on-ball Sam, where they put him over a tight end and ask him to set a firm edge or spill inside. And I am enamored by this versatility. I think that he can do all of it at a good level. And you know what the biggest selling point was to me, Joe? Is my old school thinking was, all right, this is going to be a stiff, just not flexible athlete. And I know this is our difference. This is our difference of opinion. I don't think he was. I saw him pedal and work in pass coverage and be able to open up his hips on a 45, and I do not think that he is stiff at all. Like, I think he is actually one of the better pass coverage linebackers that I have watched this summer. Like, I think that he moves exceptionally well in the pedal and on a 45. I think he moves really, really well. So maybe that's my difference of opinion with you. I think there is a lot, and you mentioned this guy's name, and I think that there is, not on this podcast, but before, I think there is a lot of Leighton Vander Esch to this game. And people forget, before Leighton Vander Esch started getting injured all the time, he was a pretty dang good linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, man. Pretty dang good one. So, I like the versatility. I like the movement skills. I think he is a lot smoother than you are going to give him credit for. I like Lander Barton, the defensive weapon on the second level for a team.
He's linebacker 11 for me.
Oh,
big
God.
build, throwback style build, massive behemoth of a monster in the middle of a defense. The power generation that he's able to muster is awesome. And he's also going to be great at taking on blockers for his size. But yeah, man, I don't think he was very fluid. I'm not saying that his stiffness is so bad that he can't succeed in the NFL. I see a starting Mike in the NFL, potentially. I think for as big as he is, he also picks up pretty good speed. But I just didn't see a guy. His hips are. Here's where I think we're misaligned.
Yep.
His hips are fluid, but his back and his upper body is not. I feel like his hips move
he's high cut, man. He's
so
just
differently than his
cut.
upper body does. I see a guy that's got like this super stiff neck, and I always get a little cautious with these stiff-necked linebackers. And
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
It means that his head to his hips. Before his hips, we're talking about completely different things.
Yes.
It doesn't move fluidly. His shoulders and his core cannot move without being in the same alignment. I'm getting really specific here, but that is how I would describe his stiffness. It was not something that I felt comfortable with. And I don't know. I don't think it's going to hold him back.
We're talking neck stiffness on the podcast right now. That's what we're doing.
He's a linebacker. Neck stiffness is a thing, is it not?
I mean,
is that
sure? I don't know. It's just.
I don't think that this is I don't think this is an off base.
I'm gonna send you a couple of clips of the BYU game where he is flipping Joe, like full flipping to the middle of the field, covering ground, working at deep crossers. You are just out of your mind on this one. Absolutely out of your mind.
No,
out of your mind.
I'm not out of my mind on this. I think that whatever. What I'm getting at is not an invalid concern, because I think that there's to talk about bend, and I know that we did like a whole inflexibility and all that stuff, what stiffness means. We did a whole video on this when we did our edge breakdown. I think that it requires a deep explanation, and this is one of those few guys that it has that, because we don't get a lot of 6'5" linebackers. We don't. We don't get a lot of guys that are this big. You got to be able to like fluidly move. I just thought that there were a lot of times on film where he didn't do a good job of transitioning side to side for me. And when he wasn't transitioning well side to side, it felt like a lot of it was his body not being able to fluidly move from one direction to the other. That is kind of what I'm trying to say here, is that his stiff neck is my way of explaining that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to get at here.
You know who's going to get compared to a little bit body type wise, more of a recent guy, not a Leighton Vander Esch, but Jack Campbell out of Iowa that was drafted by the Detroit Lions is probably a guy who's going to get brought up a little bit.
Yeah,
and
I wasn't a total Jack Campbell fan.
Jack Campbell was more instinctive as a downhill player than Lander Barton, but Lander Barton is a better athlete than Jack Campbell. Just a better athlete than Jack Campbell. I'm just yep.
Okay, you gave your 5, 4, and 3. I gave
Yes.
my 3. So my number 2 is Sonny Styles from Ohio State. Man, I'm a big Sonny Styles fan. I was so excited watching his tape. I think that there's quite a bit that does still need to get worked on because we're talking about a safety that's transitioned to linebacker. He needs to just be a better tackler. I think that he needs to play a little bit more physically for what he's got going on here. But he moves so freaking well for a big body that he has. I think that he could be a super dynamic pass coverage player in the NFL. I think that he could be super bursty and close down guy. And I know that this is kind of one of the things that we disagree on.
Yeah.
But I think that the overall traits as well as underrated instincts make for a player that can be a multi-use weapon for a defensive coordinator that can just stay on the field no matter the circumstance.
So Sonny Styles is number 2 for me as well, Joseph. Okay, 6'4" and 3/8, 237 pounds. We're talking about a really just impressive looking athlete. As you said, he played a lot of safety the previous year for Ohio State. In Jim Knowles' defense, they kind of used him as a little bit of like a mid-hole safety, which is very interesting use of him. And in theory, you would think that that would translate very well to being a coverage linebacker. But I do not love the coverage instincts right now. I do not. I think that man coverage, absolutely. Like he can man up tight ends yesterday, and you are good. He can do man coverage reps. He just gave he doesn't locate crossers well. He gives up too much easy stuff. It's just like, bro, and so here's my thing. I am not going to condemn him for that because this was his first year playing linebacker, and things move faster and in different areas and in tighter quarters. And sometimes you need a year 2 bump of just understanding space, right? So we'll see what the coverage instincts transcend to the next year. But I will say this, Joe. I mean, buddy's tall, long, and can run for days, right? And he'll hit too. He'll hit. He has no issue being a physical player when he has to be a physical player. This kid is one of the better athletes that I've evaluated the linebacker position from a flexibility, movement perspective, quick twitch in space, explosive trigger. Sonny Styles has it all to be a very high-level linebacker on the next level. I just think it's a year 2 maturation at the actual spot that will maybe make him in contention to be linebacker 1. I would not be shocked if he's in the linebacker 1 conversation if he takes a nice jump.
Yeah. I think it also, too, the thing with he's such a different player than C.J. Allen. So there's a legit likely chance that a team that already has a Mike backer but wants a player that is moldable to play outside. However, he's probably going to be more of an outside backer in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I think that he can kind of be like that Jeremy Chin type of a linebacker in the league for how he's built, and he's going to test tremendously well. Wouldn't surprise me if we don't end up seeing Sonny Styles go before C.J. Allen. But with that in mind, we both have C.J. Allen as our linebacker 1, which is no surprise. You and I have been super just excited about him. He was the first guy that I watched, and I could not have been more blown away. He is my second highest rated prospect in this class. I don't have any blue chip grades because I don't think this class has a blue chip player at the current moment.
Disagree.
But I think that he is dangerously close to that. Yeah. In summer scouting for me, Ryan, I don't want to give out a blue chip grade unless you're like Travis Hunter good.
Or Peter Woods. Or Peter Woods good,
Peter Woods is good, but he's not blue chip good. C.J. Allen, though, what he does so well is everything. He's got great instincts. Yep. He's great in the box. Mm-hmm. He generates power at an unbelievable level that you wouldn't expect for a compact linebacker of his build. He will knock your block off if you are in his way trying to get to a ball carrier. And if he sees you and you have the ball, he's going to put your ass into the ground. He's also pretty good at covering space. I don't know if he'll be an insane athlete at the NFL Combine, but good enough for him to carve out a role as a modern Mike linebacker and to just be an insanely productive player in the NFL. Roquan Smith has been the comparison that we keep bringing up here. Roquan has lasted at an all-pro level, and I think that C.J. Allen ends up becoming that type of a player in the NFL. I could not be more excited and happy watching a player like this.
No, I think he definitely has that type of upside. The one negative that I'll put out there before I just fangirl over him for a minute is I don't think the change of direction is great. Like I just don't think that's ever going to be his bag. Yeah. He's got kind of like that short, stumpy build. I think he's close to maxed out physically as far as like the weight that's going to be on his frame and all that type of stuff. So like the change of direction is not great, but he is explosive. He can run. He's very instinctive and he can hit. Like all those things together, I think the Roquan Smith comp is fair, and I don't like putting that lofty of expectations on a guy, but I do think that he is a Pro Bowl level player potentially on the NFL level, and I do think that he is going to be a starting Mike for a very long time. So yes, all here for the C.J. Allen fan club.
I could not be. The thing that I always kind of end up when we get into summer scouting is like there's always like 5 players that I watch where I'm like, man, this guy makes me so excited about watching more film because I want to find more guys like this. There haven't exactly been a lot of those players, and it's kind of like the summer scouting too is really funny. I don't know about you, Ryan, where you watch enough bad football players that are getting overhyped, and you're just like, I'm so tired. Like this guy's not good, and it's like I need a break.
It's social media, man.
CJ Allen,
it's social media.
Well,
social media.
Wait, forget the social media stuff for a second. It's just like when you're going through these. I use mock draft database as a really good consensus ranking that merges a ton of big boards. And I go through and I watch these guys, and I'm like, man, this guy sucks. This guy sucks. This guy sucks. But you get it's a nice breath of fresh air when you get a guy like CJ Allen where there's not a lot to be upset about. There's not a lot that I can latch onto and be like, yeah, I don't know about this. It's good football player who is going to get drafted highly that is just going to shine.
Agree. Yeah. I think he's one of the easier evaluations in this class. Like I'll put it like that. Yeah. Of any position group that we've watched, I think CJ Allen's the one where you're just like, there's not much buzz factor there, man. Like he's at least going to be a solid to good player, right? Like even if he's never a Pro Bowler, like he's at least going to be like a who's the kid that used to play for the Eagles, the inside linebacker that plays with the Bears now, that played at Wisconsin. Edwards, what's his first name? Something Edwards. Dang, I suck at this sometimes. What is the kid's name? What's the kid's name? Edwards. TJ Edwards. How do I not remember that?
Yep,
TJ Edwards. If he's not at least TJ Edwards, I'd be very surprised he's not at least TJ. And TJ Edwards is a good, solid starting Mike linebacker in the NFL, and I think that's at least what CJ Allen's going to be.
Comment below, folks, your thoughts on our rankings. Who is your favorite linebacker in the 2026 NFL Draft? Hit that like button and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.